Am I the jerk for telling my friend he's the typical idiot girls use for money? I have a friend Jay, who is 21 years old and male, and I have known him for 8 years. We have been in the same friend group since high school. Jay is relatively rich and has over $80,000 in the bank. Here is the problem. Jay uses his money as a method to attract girls. He is a bit obnoxious because he flaunts his money, how he travels, his designer products, and even carries receipts to show people. But we are happy for him. He does not flaunt it in our faces, just with other girls. He has told us stories about girls using him for money. He does not realize this himself. He thinks they are interested in him. He told us how he spends between $200 and $500 on dates because he believes the girls are special and worth it. However, it often seems to me that the girls lead him on to go on the dates but never actually want to be in a relationship. Yesterday we went clubbing. Jay got drunk and spent a lot on alcohol, especially for other girls. He ended up spending nearly $1,000 before we took him home. Many girls flirted with him, got him to buy them expensive drinks, and left immediately. He ended up with no girls, got very drunk, and upset. One of our friends left the club with a girl who was flirting with Jay. Jay was angry and said that the friend broke bro code and stole a girl from him. He said he is tired of us using him for money and that no one cares. I felt bad, of course, because he is my friend. But he is also foolish at times. For example, this night. When taking him home, he sobered up a little on the train. He was still complaining about the friend taking his girl. I told him outright that he is foolish if he thinks the girl is going to sleep with him. I told him that all the girls that flirted were just using him to get alcohol, and that this happens because he flaunts his money. I said he is a typical person that girls will prey on to use for their money because he is so desperate, he is willing to blow away money for some attention. I said the friend who took the girl did not even buy her a drink. He just flirted with her. And he did not have to flaunt money either. I thought it was high time Jay heard this. It was not coming from a place of anger, jealousy, or malice. I think it is the truth. My friends had thought so too, but no one ever told him. Anyway, that kind of shut him up. We dropped him off, went home, and I have yet to check up on him. I am going to call him soon, but thought it would be helpful to get some advice on whether I was being a jerk to him last night or not. He seemed pretty upset after what I said, and I have been feeling guilty for being unsympathetic. Being a true friend means telling hard truths when necessary. Ideally, it would have been better to have a talk with him when he wasn't mad and drunk, but I get that can be easier said than done. It's a shame you're both 21 and petty stuff like this can sometimes get overblown, but one day I hope he'll realize you were the only one being real with him. You are not the bad guy in this situation. You're being a kind friend. Am I the jerk for what I said when my parents announced they were having another baby? My parents have 7 children. There is me, a 16-year-old male, Kayla, a 13-year-old female, Robin, a 12-year-old male, Sam, a 10-year-old male, Lassie, an 8-year-old female, Zoe, a 6-year-old female, and Robbie, a 4-year-old male. They only ever intended to have 2 children, and even with just me and Kayla, they would still struggle. My parents do not have great jobs. We never had much space in our house to begin with, and now we are all crammed in. I started working at 13 to earn money so I could pay for things I needed, like a laptop, which I did not have access to when my school first shut down. We did not even have internet then. My parents swore they were done with Robbie and that they would get us back on track so that I would not need to work just to pay for school necessities. The weight of being the oldest is already a lot, and I have paid for things before. I babysit so my parents can work nights or get a break. I take care of the house most days so they can focus on earning money. But it is a lot, and we are really too big of a family for what we can actually afford. My parents get help from the government, but it does not go far because they are not good with money or buying groceries. When no baby came right after Robbie, I thought they were serious, and I started to think about my future. I would love to learn to cook better and work in a restaurant. Not college exactly, because we could never afford it and my grades are not good enough, but something. Then on Monday, my parents sat us down and told us they are having another baby, and my mother is about 14 weeks pregnant. They knew for 7 weeks and did not want to tell us until they were ready. My siblings were mostly surprised, but me? I said, not again. I think I even cried a little, which caught me off guard because I am not usually a crier. This was apparently enough to break me though. My parents got so angry at me and told me to check my attitude. I told them they gave me this attitude by being so reckless and putting so much on me, and now they have broken their promise and we are going to struggle even more than before. They told me to stop acting like they are doing something to me, that accidents happen, and they would never abort, even if they could. They told me to focus on making things okay and to be less negative. I know people say that having money is not as important as long as you have a loving family, and maybe that is true for some people, but mine feels like a weight I have to carry and not something I am blessed with. They are a responsibility on me, a burden really. And maybe that is awful to say, but it is how I really feel. I hate worrying about what will happen if they cannot afford the bills, or if my laptop breaks and I cannot afford to fix it or get a new one. Or what if we cannot afford food, or we can but I have to pay for groceries instead of saving? Am I the jerk? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk here. Your feelings are perfectly reasonable, and it's important to think about your future. Don't let their decision to have another child derail you. Keep saving and know that groceries are not your responsibility. Try to look into local food banks and other services that might help your family. Also, consider talking to a school counselor about improving your grades and exploring good training courses for your future career. Am I the jerk for refusing to let my dad walk me down the aisle at my wedding? I am getting married in a few months to my fiancé Alex, and one major issue is causing significant stress. I do not want my dad to walk me down the aisle. My dad has struggled with alcoholism my entire life. Growing up, he was unreliable and often absent, which led to a childhood of broken promises and instability. My parents divorced when I was 13 years old, largely because my mom could not handle the situation anymore. After the divorce, I took it upon myself to try to help him get sober, believing that if I tried hard enough, he would change. But despite my efforts, he never stayed sober for long. The emotional scars from those years are profound, and I have spent years in therapy working through the pain. Part of my healing process has been accepting that he was not the father I needed. Because of this, I have decided that I want my mom to walk me down the aisle. She has been my unwavering support, especially when my dad's alcoholism caused our family so much turmoil. My mom made countless sacrifices to provide stability and support. She attended every important event and ensured I had opportunities despite the chaos at home. Her consistent love and dedication have been the foundation of my life, and honoring her in this way feels deeply right and fitting. However, Alex's parents are very traditional and religious, and they have offered to pay for a significant portion of our wedding. When they learned I did not want my dad to walk me down the aisle, they were shocked and did not understand my decision. They believe that tradition dictates a father should walk his daughter down the aisle, regardless of past issues. They also see this as a chance for my dad to show his care and make amends in front of everyone. They have suggested that allowing him this role could heal old wounds and bring our families closer together. They think I am being too unforgiving and missing an opportunity for reconciliation. Alex has been incredibly supportive and understands why this decision is so important to me. He has been trying to explain my perspective to his parents, but they are firm in their views. They have made it clear that if my dad does not walk me down the aisle, they will withdraw their financial support. He is worried about how we will manage the wedding expenses without their help. I feel conflicted. I do not want to compromise on something that feels so significant to me. The thought of my dad walking me down the aisle feels wrong on so many levels. At the same time, I understand Alex's concern about the financial implications. I have tried to explain my feelings to his parents, but they seem unable to grasp the depth of my pain, viewing my stance as stubborn and unforgiving. Am I being too stubborn by refusing to let my dad walk me down the aisle? Am I the wrong person for prioritizing my feelings over the financial help we need for the wedding? You did the right thing. If they want to throw a strop and pull their financial support, plan the wedding that you can afford. It will be just as special and meaningful without their interference. Your principles and integrity are worth more than a fancy wedding. Refusing their money will prevent them from trying to control you with it in the future. Am I the jerk for my reaction after asking my fiancé for some money to buy supplies? For context, I left my job a few months ago under the assumption we were moving out of state. He had legal issues to deal with for a few more months, so he stayed behind in our apartment until then. When I went to our desired location, I spent weeks trying to find opportunities and failing greatly, and eventually came back. He did not stay in the apartment and decided to go back to his family's home, disregarding what we had here and letting it fall apart, even though he said he was there every day cleaning. When I came back, I had left my trailer of belongings with my family over an hour away as the apartment was beyond a mess. I started applying for jobs, as I did not want to go back to my old one for other major concerns. I told him it might take a while. He stated to me that he would rather have me be a stay-at-home mother, so we did not have to do daycare or turn over shifts. I used to work the graveyard shift, so I never interfered with his job. Since they were my children, he felt that I should be obligated to do it all anyway. I did not see it as an issue since he said he would cover the expenses this time, as I had done everything from all bills, even his, to food and chores for the entire year prior. Well, we have an apartment inspection in less than a week, and if we fail, we could get evicted and I could lose my children. I have stayed up for 3 days, recovering what should have taken only a few hours with what I could find. I caved after hours of asking him to please let me go get cleaning supplies. He said he refused because he did not want me wasting $200 on stuff we do not really need and whatever else you would come home with, implying I would be wasting his money. I told him it would not be an issue if he had gotten a job that paid him for his time. It is his family's company, and he refused to leave it. I told him that it was fine then, stopped cleaning where I was, showered and laid down. He came to me and said he needed help because one person could not do it all, even though the only thing he was doing was water vacuuming 2 carpets while I had the rest of the house. I told him that if his decision was to not provide supplies, then he could work with what he had. I know we have the inspection, and I have the most to lose because I do not have a community or resources like he does, but part of me is just tired. I just asked for sponges, a mop, some disinfectant, and gloves. I get that we still have bills to pay, but that is not for another week, and he would get paid again around the time they are due. You are not the bad guy in this situation. You need to get out of this situation. This man has let you foot the bill for everything for the last year, convinced you to move out of state, and is now putting you in a position where you and your kids are fully financially reliant on him, but refuses to let you buy even basic cleaning supplies. You're at serious risk of losing your kids currently and will likely always be if you stay with this man. He cannot afford attention or funds for you because you're not his priority, so it's time to remove him from your life. Am I the jerk for my response to my ex telling me he is gay? So through an away account because I have too much personal stuff on my main account. Backstory: 10 years ago, I met my now ex-boyfriend. We broke up 7 years ago, and we did not have the best relationship. We were both going through difficult times. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and he had significant substance abuse issues. After one incredibly explosive argument, I decided to end the relationship. However, at the time, I stated I would still be there for him no matter what, but strictly as friends. We kept in touch throughout the years until 2 years ago, when we lost contact and started moving in different circles. This brings us to last week. I had just finished work and was walking home, thinking about getting ready to curl up in bed as I was absolutely exhausted. When I am walking, I always have my headphones on with my music blasting loudly. I would also like to point out that I am currently not wearing glasses, waiting for my new pair to arrive. And unless you are standing right in front of me, I will not be able to tell who you are. So there I am walking when I suddenly feel a tap on my shoulder and I see my ex-boyfriend. To be honest, I was stunned. The first thing I thought when I saw him was that he was clearly using drugs again. We had a quick catch-up chat, but the more he explained how much worse his life had gotten, the more my eyes widened and the more speechless I became. After a couple of minutes, I noticed a man standing right next to him. My ex noticed my eyes flicking to him and told me this was his boyfriend, and he had finally realized he was gay. Now, this was not a huge shock to me. However, after all the information that had just been dumped on me, I decided to add humor to the situation and exclaimed, "Well, you always like stuff up there." This is when my ex-boyfriend got very mad at me and started shouting that I had not changed, and that I was still as childish as ever. True, but I believe I had major word vomit. I would like to point out that the new boyfriend was currently laughing at this, telling him I had a point. I have told my friends about this and they are split into 4 groups. Group 1 thinks I should not have even given him the time of day and should have left it. Group 2 thinks it was an inconsiderate thing to say. Group 3 thinks it was funny. Group 4 said that given my dating history, I should have seen this coming. This is now the 5th guy that has announced they are gay, and have started calling me the professional beard. So am I the jerk for what I said, or did I have an unfortunate case of word vomit? You are not the one to blame. What are you supposed to say in that situation? The boyfriend's reaction tells you all you need to know. Honestly, stop talking to your ex and move on. Am I the jerk for not making enough smoothie for my sister's boyfriend? My sister has been dating a guy for almost a year now, and they live close by, so they sometimes come over to our parents' house to eat. He is a bigger man and has explained that he loves to eat. I am cooking the meals now since my mother had a car accident and cannot move around the house as much. My sister is staying over to help take care of our mother, and he decided to stay over too, claiming he wants to help. He has just been eating and not helping. He will try anything and everything in the house, so if I do not want him to take something I bought for myself, I will take it upstairs to my room. At about 3 in the morning, I will hear him get up and search through the freezer for ice cream. We specifically left the ice cream for my mother because chewing harder stuff hurts her jaw. He will also look through the fridge for leftovers. Last night I made dinner for everyone and also my mother's favorite dish, lasagna tight. Everyone in the house was aware that it was a surprise for her. When I left the food to cool and went to check on my mother, I heard someone go into the kitchen. I knew it was him because he has a distinct heavy walk and is the only one who runs up and down the stairs. I went back downstairs and found both meals with a big dent in the middle. He did not even wash the spoon. I was, of course, upset and went to my sister's room to ask if anyone had eaten the food. He denied it and even suggested that the heat in the oven probably made it sink. I did not want to make a scene, so I tried talking to him in private. He told me I was being ridiculous, even when I showed him the spoon that he had clearly used. I then told my sister, who insisted it was an accident and that he did not know. Everyone in the house except my mother knew about the surprise. In fact, there was a joke that I was not going to be able to make it right. When he and my sister went out this afternoon, I made a smoothie and purposely made sure there was not enough left for him because I was very upset. According to him and my sister, I am inconsiderate because I know he likes food. You are not the one at fault. This guy is a greedy mooch who's not helping your mom, but rather helping himself to your family's food. Your sister needs to deal with him and either address his compulsive behavior or accept that he's just being a giant asshole. In the meantime, they both need to leave because they're more interested in eating than actually helping. It's important to make it clear that the food is for your recovering mother and not for him to pilfer. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.